Hello, people of the virtual village hall and beyond. My name is Rowan McCabe. I'm back by popular demand. In case you missed this last time, I do poetry. That's what I'm going to be doing for the next 15 minutes or so. And this first one, it doesn't really need any explanation. I think it just requires a small apology to Julie Andrews. It goes like this. Hourly car alarms, internet trolls, dog poo on pavements, cheap aerosols, ring pulls that snap before opening the tin. These are a few of my least favourite things. Flat pack home furniture with cryptic instructions, cheap vacuum cleaners without any suction, ill-informed relatives, strongly right-wing, all just a few of my least favourite things. Musicals, office chat, one-party states, tax returns, astroturf, left open gates, conspiracy theorists, anything by Sting must go on the list of my least favourite things. Substandard sequels, those who jump queues, crumbs in the butter, squeaky balloons, oceans of plastic, holes in my shoes, chumocracy leaders with nothing to lose, coming out with no hair when you asked for a trim. These are a few of my least favourite things. In the sunshine, when I feel fine, in the local pub, it simply takes one of these things to occur, and then I don't feel so good. Thank you very much. That's the first poem there. List of things I don't like. So yeah, it's a weird old time at the minute, isn't it? It's a weird time to be a poet. I know that much. I mean, I like to get out and put myself in unusual places. That's kind of how I like to write. To do things that I've never tried before and then kind of chronicle them. That's my favourite thing to do, and you can't really do a lot of that at the minute. But I think if one good thing has come out of this year, if nothing else, it's kind of forced us all to look a bit closer at our neighbourhoods, hasn't it? Like, look at the place on the doorstep and really think about what we can get out of it. Like, I'm broadcasting from here in Newcastle. I live in a place called Heaton, which is just next to the city centre. There's a park about 2 minutes down the road from us. I've spent a lot of time in Heaton Park. It's been a real psychic anchor. And there's this kind of small ruin in the park that I must have, like, I've lived around here for about maybe 10 years, and I must have went past this like little ruined building maybe like once a week for 10 years and never once questioned what it was. And it was only until this lockdown 2, that I took a bit of a closer look, and I learned that actually it's an old castle. It was lived in by a knight, no less, a knight called Adam of Jesmond. He went on the Crusades. He was a 13th century knight. And I thought, this is amazing. How did I never know that a 13th century knight lived in a castle literally like a few doors down from my house? So I thought I was going to go away. I was going to research Adam of Jesmond, find out a bit more about him, maybe write a poem. This could be a really good way of marking it. And I went away and I did a bit of reading about Adam of Jesmond, and it turns out he just wasn't really a very nice guy. Yeah, he was horrible, actually. Like, everyone around here hated him. He had to have the castle fortified and guarded all day and all night. Not because of a threat from like another country or another kingdom. It was the people around here. He was genuinely concerned that at any moment they were going to rise up and chop his head off. Like, he embezzled loads of money. Like, he was a horrible, horrible man. And I thought, this is classic 2020, isn't it? Like, you find out that a 13th century knight lived a few doors down from me, and it turns out he was just an awful, awful man. And I thought I was going to write, well, I thought I'd write a poem about it anyway, you know, to kind of mark my feelings about it. So this is called Naff Night. He lived in a castle way up on the hill, a drawbridge, a moat, and a turret. But when he went out for a loaf or some milk, the people all told him to shove it. He was a naff knight. He raised all his taxes, then squandered the lot on fine wines. Naff knights No sense of adventure. Upstairs was the furthest he'd climb. His armour was rusty, his helmet was dusty, he'd barely once held up a sword. Unchivalrous, rude, his attempts to woo damsels often left them feeling bored. Naff night, too wide for his chainmail. Everyone knew and agreed, naff night. It was obvious, really. He couldn't get up on his steed. He could not be relied on in dragon attacks. He used bystanders as human shields. His search for the Grail by day one had failed when he slipped on banana skin peel. Naff night. He won no awards. Universally free of respect. Naff night. When his time finally came, the people were quick to forget. That last line about the people forgetting about the night as well. It was so the reason there's hardly any of the castle left in the park is that when Adam of Jesmond died, people just let the place fall into disrepair. Even his family didn't bother kind of trying to look after it or anything. They just left it and it just crumbled to pieces. And I thought, isn't there something, a real divine justice in that, you know, that you spend your life being a horrible person and then the ultimate, you know, cosmic punishment is that once you're gone, no one remembers you. No one even bothers trying to remember you, you know. A lesson in there for all, I think. So that's one thing I've been up to recently. I've been spending a lot of time in the park. The other thing is that I was asked this year by the National Trust to be poet in residence at Wordsworth's house. And it was the start of the year when we started talking about this. So times were very different. The idea I was going to go to Wordsworth House in Cockermouth in the Lake District, and I was gonna. They made me a custom-made tailcoat. I was gonna stick my tailcoat on, kind of swan around Wordsworth House and just have a jolly old time, really. But yeah, it never really panned out that way for, you know, global reasons. But we'll move the residency online. So I've been doing a lot of writing from home. And this year is the 250th anniversary of Wordsworth's birth. So the project is all about childhood. And I guess I've been thinking a lot about my childhood. I'm not going to lie, one thing that makes it quite difficult is that me and Wordsworth had very, very different childhoods. Like, you know, Wordsworth growing up in the Lake District area of outstanding natural beauty, you know, communing on a daily basis with the mountains and the trees on a deep spiritual level. Myself, well, I grew up in a place called Hebburn in South Tyneside. It's an ex-mining town. We've got, well, a pet shop with no pets in. There was a fountain that was never turned on. A takeaway famous for its miscellaneous meat special. And I lived in a home housing estate, which is basically like a council estate, but with thinner walls and more damp. But despite that, I've been thinking a bit about childhood, and I guess about the role that nature played, maybe in a slightly different way. So with that in mind, I want to share this with you. It's called Goth Potato. It's not easy being the only goth on the estate, especially when you're overweight. When your black leather trench coat is bulging at the seams. When your dog collar's chafing on your double chin. When you look like a big potato painted by Nick Cave. Have you seen yourself lately? State. And the kids on BMXs don't want to be your mate. They spit in your face. Chase you with chains so you stop using the front door. Go out round the back. Through the trees by the factories to the empty land that your mum said used to be flats till they hit detonate. And the more you look, the more you see it. And the overgrown grass and bracken, shattered concrete walls, tarmac car parks mossed over like a forgotten empire. It feels safe. There's no one around. Except for the lads who smoke buckets by the bushes at the pond, but they don't bother you. You can do what you like. Observe the evolution of tadpoles. Hack roots through bushes with Swiss Army knives. Wake up early to watch the sunrise. Your black leather coat casting a long, lone, wide shadow on a pile of old breeze blocks. Someone else, I think, who grew up in a home housing estate there is that Gillian, thinner walls and more damp. Very true, she says. Yeah, she's someone out there knows. They know what I mean. I'm going to do a poem about the first lockdown now. I know it's not the cheeriest of subjects. I suppose it took a while for us to get this poem into shape. I think, you know, it was just too close to my face back in March. But I guess with this second lockdown coming in, I've had a chance to think about... well, I guess we've all had a chance to run this once already, haven't we? Like, we know how it works. We know that it will come to an end. Things will get better. But there was a moment, wasn't there, in that first one? You know, the first few days when I think it genuinely felt like the end of the world could be happening. I don't know. Maybe it was just me being a bit morbid. But yeah, I wanted to share this with you. It's called Last Days. When the lockdown locked, I was leaving King's Cross. The carriage empty. The conductor suspiciously upbeat. We have a lot of free seats today. Spread yourself out and relax. While beyond the glass the supermarkets were stripped bare. People fist fighting over toilet paper. Perched on the edge of standard class or hovered on the verge of the last days. As we picked up speed, pulled out of the city into the country, it occurred to us this could be the last train I ever take. Silly, I know, but I began to make a mental note. Golden fields, patchwork hedgerows, cooling towers, meadows, copses, pylons, cottages, motorways flashing up for a moment in the window before vanishing indefinitely. Maybe, I thought, my children will ask us what it felt like to ride on a train, to visit a supermarket, what life was like before the big collapse. And I will have to explain that I didn't really notice. I was mostly looking backwards or forwards or somewhere off the other way. That I never really stopped to make a note and take it in, till it seemed about to vanish on the very last day. Thanks so much. I've got one more poem and then I'm going to go. This has been really lovely. I meant to say, all of these poems are brand new, by the way. I've never shared them with anyone else before. So it's really nice to have a chance to share them with you. So do let us know what you thought about them in the comments section. Brilliant. Right. Well, I'm going to leave you. I'm going to leave you on one more poem. It was a real privilege to be approached by a local hospice recently, Marie Curie in Newcastle, and they asked if I'd write a poem to commemorate their 25th anniversary. And it's a cause that's quite close to my heart at the minute. I've got a family member who's been struggling health-wise, and you can feel a bit powerless at a time like this, can't you? So I thought it would be a nice way of showing that I care and kind of marking the work that other people are doing as well. Because, yeah, I mean, I spend a lot of time in the house these days. I'm not a frontline worker, and I'm just sort of in awe of the work that people are doing in hospices and hospitals, especially at the minute. All the staff, all the volunteers. You know, it's an incredible thing. Yeah, so I'm going to leave you with this poem. It's called Angels in Daffodil Hats. I wrote it for the staff and the volunteers at Marie Curie Hospice in Newcastle. Sorry for being sideways for the majority of this. It is somewhat symbolic, I think, of my my general character. But yeah, I'll leave you with this. Cheers for listening. These are the people. The people we turn to when uncertain phone calls have shook, who soothe and who steer us through life's sudden speed bumps, who fetch with a roadmap and light a path up, who sit in the moments when time feels so fleeting, who make sure we're never alone, who lift us regardless of how well they know us, who treat us like one of their own. They bring with them laughter from deep understanding that every second is precious. Turn rooms into beaches so feet can tread sand. Welcome with families. Help them understand. And they hold and they carry and give up their days for no other reason than love. A belief that we each deserve comfort and cheer. And to share this around is the reason we're here. Thank you very much for listening. That's me. I should be back on the Virtual Village Hall Facebook page in the next few weeks, doing it as part of a Christmas celebration. So do keep an eye out for that. I'll be doing some Christmas classics. But until then, look after yourself, stay safe. I'll catch you in a bit.